Right, the next section, which again it's all just through hammer-ons and pull-offs as a lot of this style is. But what's good about doing that, it means you can get multiple parts going simultaneously. So we've got the first bit, and then what happens is you're going to hammer on with your index finger on the 4th fret of the next string down, the A string. And then again with your index finger of your other hand on the next fret up. So. And then you're pulling off to the open string, so even though you're not actually strummed anything in the last little section, you've still got continuous notes through the pull-offs. Okay, so I'll just play that bit and then I'll go on to the second section as well. So as you can see there, I did a hammer onto all 3 of these strings, so essentially putting a little moving chord pattern in using these strings. Okay, so that's done through a hammer-on, and following that you're hammering onto the 7th fret of the A string and doing a slide down back down to the 5th fret. So it should sound like this. Okay, so again, following on from that, we've got more hammer-ons and pull-offs. So when you slide down from the 7th fret to the 5th fret, you're in this position, so you've got both index fingers down at the same time. What you're going to do is you're going to pull off with your right hand first, and then your left hand after, so it should sound like this. Okay, so as you can see, it's starting to get quite complicated, this. I think the hardest thing is getting both your hands working at the same time to get them playing in time with each other, really, because that's quite a hard thing, coordinating fingers on both hands. But I'll move on to the next section. So we've just gone from the slide down, 2 pull-offs, and then a hammer onto the next fret up. So basically we're moving on to the next chord 4 of what we're playing in, so that's like a C. And then a tapped harmonic on the top 2 strings on the 12th fret. It should sound like that. So again, instead of using your tip like you were before, you're going to use the actual soft bit of your fingertip. So that's the first phrase of this sequence. Okay, and that bit's repeated quite a few times, and again it's just the bit that follows it that changes each time. So yeah, what follows that bit? It goes like this. Okay, so you're strumming, you've still fretted on there, so you strum and you're hammering down on the same hand with your middle finger onto the 5th fret of the top string, and then straight away with your other hand onto the 7th fret of the same string. Okay, then what happens, once you're on there, you need to hammer down pretty hard to make sure you get a good tone, because what's going to happen is you do a slide up and slide down. So it's slide up and slide back down, and then you're pulling off. And it wants to be a sort of triplet rhythm, so it wants to be like da 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 da, if you know what I mean. Again, so where before on the slide and the pull-offs, that was sort of triplet quavers, the last little bit, we're going back down to the 5th fret and we're pulling off, but this time it's just sort of crotchet triplets, so it's... Okay, so I think up to now, if you're still following that, then you've got the bulk of this this little sequence. So up to now, and it repeats. But then once we got to that bit, this time it changes. So again, we've still got this finger on. What we're going to do is you're going to use your middle finger on the 4th fret of the A string. I tend to use the 2nd one in. And what you're going to do is strum it, and you're going to bend it as well, so it goes. And then the pull off, but you're actually flicking it instead of, because you're bending it back inwards, instead of pulling it again, you're going to flick it off forwards, so. And then a slap with your thumb. And a tapped harmonic on the 7th. So it should sound like this.